And one of the big things that the community want to know is like kind of how do you guys balance the quote unquote crazy sweaty community, right? And then the casual community, right? And then when making change, I guess it's a two-part question. When making changes, how do you guys like what kind of numbers, right, do you guys use, or what do you guys dictate the change? Okay, this is a good change or this is not. Like, what do you guys use for feedback for certain different things? Does that make sense?
It does for the most part. I will try to answer that.
Yeah, this
right.
is so metrics. Sorry.
Metrics. We do look at data. So we have a lot of data around it that we're looking at, but a lot of it's also feel, right? So like with slide canceling and delay after slide to sprint and stamina regen and all of that, like there's a lot of feel there, and we did play with it in the beta. We changed it. We made changes to it. We didn't have a system during beta that we turned on for launch. That was the system where you now stopped regenning during slide. And so that is on now, and we're tuning that, right? So the changes you saw today was us tuning that. And so what we do is we have a very short delay before you can go into attack sprint after normal slide. After slide canceling, it's even faster than it was after beta. So that second weekend of beta, we reduced it, and we've reduced it since then. Launch was there was an issue at launch where it kind of went to the earlier version before even beta weekend 2. That's been fixed since then. And then we have the stamina, where it does not regen while you're sliding and all that kind of stuff. So there's a little delay before it regens. I think it's down to a second. It was at 3 seconds when at launch there, and we've brought it down to a second. And so a lot of that tuning happens in there around feel. So we want you to be able to run and slide cancel and use it tactically and use it as a methodically throughout the maps and stuff. So if you want to get in there, you can use it. You can be situational with it. We don't really want it to be a method of transportation. Like, it shouldn't be the best way to get around the map and those types of things, because ultimately then you have people kind of doing what ultimately is snaking in a way, where you kind of have this constant head bob. And that's one of the things that we're looking at across the board is, are there things like that? Like, what are we going to do with snaking and things? We're actively investigating what can be done. Right now, there's no bugs with it. We're just letting you do it a lot, which, you can say one way or another that that's a good thing or a bad thing. But ultimately, like, you think about it, you kind of put yourself in the shoes of both of those players, the player snaking and the player looking at somebody being looking at somebody snaking. It's kind of it's not a great situation for either person, right? In that situation, because if you're snaking, you are intentionally trying to mess with the game in that sense, but you're trying to get that advantage, and you can do it. So you take advantage of it. If you can do it, do it. And the game lets you do it. And so when people are seeing this from the other side, when you're actually trying to shoot that person, it's not a great experience, and it looks kind of weird and it's funky, and you're like, that guy's, he's just exploiting the systems. And so we look at those systems. And we want to find a balance between them, right? We want you to be good at the game. Like, go do it. If you can do it, be good. But at the same time, the other player on that, it's a multiplayer. So there's one player always on the other side of it. And we want to just make sure that that's a good experience for them as well. And so it's a balance, right? And as we look into snaking, I'll one more comment, and then so as we look at the snaking, it is about, like, well, how often do we let you do it? What is going to feel good and what is not going to feel good, and what can we actually do in that situation? So
what are you gonna say, Adam?
I just wanted to say, Greg is a way better player than I am. Like, when we're in matches, this game is so deep and so layered that a player who's as skilled as Greg can really, do all the, the fancy movement techniques, and, but somebody like me, who's a little bit more of a casual player, can still get in and have fun. So maybe I'm not, pushing slide canceling to its limit, but I'm still, exploring all the weapons, like all the mechanics, all the stuff that we have in Modern Warfare 3 that makes the game super fun for me too. So it's not like I'm I'm not experiencing like the depth of the game that I want to experience either, just because I'm not like the type of player that really, you know, goes into those types of movement mechanics, you know. So there's a little bit of something for everybody in this game, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I guess, well, speaking on snaking, right, is like, I guess this is, I thought of it, right? Because I don't like pointing out problems unless there's I can think of some type of solution, right? And they're now, like, I get it. It's like, snaking is something that I guess was unintentional, right? But how do you fix it? How do you fix it without adding delays and cooldowns?
Right.
And then the game now becomes clunky and it feels like, okay, if you go into a prone now and you're not even trying to slide cancel, but then you stand up, now like you're blocked from going down again if you get into another engagement. So are those kind of the things that you look at when trying to nerf things like that?
That's exactly, like, that's why we haven't really messed with snaking just yet, right? Like, because it is a very delicate balance of all of those things. Like, because as soon as you're like, okay, well, I'm just, you know, let's just put a delay between how quickly you can go between stand and crouch, or prone and crouch. Like, if you did that, then all of a sudden you're punishing everybody for it. And like, it's not like, why? Okay, cool. But there is a exploit. If we were to define like snaking as like, oh, if you did it 5 times in a row, okay, you're clearly you're trying to abuse the system or something like that. It's not really abuse the system, but you're using it for an advantage that we've now determined is unfair for whoever. But then you have to deal with that. There's 5 enough? Oh, should it be 30? Like, should it be like, where do you define that line? And that's a lot of like, you try and test the wind, see where it is, and you know, make some changes. We put it out there. Like, same with the stamina stuff that we're doing now with slide canceling and sprint and slide. All that stuff is, you know, we put it out there for players to have fun with and go have fun, experiment and see, and, you know, give us feedback and let us know what you think about it.